I knew early on that whatever career I had was probably going to be with working with children. I have a passion for kids. I've always been around a lot of kids.
I always thought I would be in a medical setting working with adults, but life throws you different ideas sometimes, and my first job out of graduate school ended up being in a pediatric position.
So I met Lisa working in the last district that we both worked in. She was the lead SLP, and so we had met on a couple of different occasions, and one of those was she had reached out to see if any SLPs in the district were interested in working on a committee where we could help create some resources for the other therapists.
Part of my role as a lead SLP in the district was creating resources and trainings for all of the SLPs in our district. And so at one point we had talked about how it would be great if we had some resources in terms of progress monitoring, and I ended up putting out an all call to see who would want to work on that project. And of 150 SLPs, there was one that replied, and that was Sarah.
I think probably the hardest thing about our job is the high caseloads. We typically have caseloads of 65 or more students and from a wide range of ages. So unlike a teacher who might just teach a class of 30 third graders, we have a caseload of 65 preschool through sixth graders, it could be, and they all have a wide variety of needs. So being able to know how to treat all those needs and take data on all of those needs, and at the same time manage all of the paperwork, it's a really daunting process. It's very overwhelming.
We were really looking for a way initially for SLPs to have an easier way to complete progress monitoring. People just go nuts when it's time to do these reports because it's very time consuming, it's very hard to comb through your data, analyze it, and oftentimes caseloads are very high. So usually they are due right before a break, and you hear stories of people doing this at nights or over like a spring break or winter break, and they're not really getting to enjoy their vacation because they're still completing work.
So SLP Toolkit was designed to help SLPs with the data part of our job. I think we're all really good at the therapy side of things, but being able to collect sufficient data to determine current performance, strengths and needs in the areas of communication is really complicated because we have to know something about everything. And so the idea behind it was we wanted to create a way for SLPs to gather comprehensive data about student strengths and needs in all areas of communication, and then based on those, be able to to select the goals, to be able to write specific measurable goals, and then to be able to take data and progress monitor on those goals.
The first thing you see when you sign into the app is your agenda. We like everyone to add their schedule in, so everything's just waiting for them there and ready to take data. One of the biggest things we have always put emphasis on since the day that we started creating the app is we wanted it to be really user-friendly. We all have been introduced to software, but that is not super user-friendly, and what typically happens is people won't use it if there's a huge learning curve. So it was very important for us to have people not get bogged down in that process of the software and really be able to get right to the tools that support them.
I think the number one thing we wanted for SLPs more than anything was for them to feel confident with the information that they had and the treatment plans they were writing. That they would never question again whether or not they had the data they needed to really determine progress for students. And to be able to give them a streamlined way to do best practice. I think many of us have lost sleep at night worrying about maybe not doing the best job for kids. And so if we can give them the tools they need to be able to feel really good about services they're providing for students, then that is our greatest accomplishment.